Well, now we know it. Now we have an interesting new report now confirming the most likely source of the COOF, where it came from, is exactly where you thought it was. All those people that were called conspiracy theorists, all those people that were banned from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all those people that were demonetized on YouTube, having their livelihoods taken away from them, labeled as alt-right, terrible people for perpetuating, being called, saying you have a problem with Chinese people for even possibly suggesting this. Well, you were right, at least according to this new report. And it's interesting that the media is finally reporting on this. It's interesting that the media is finally talking about this. Must be because they want us to go to war now with China. I don't know. Now, I normally don't report about like politics and stuff on this channel, but this is an important topic, and so I hope that you'll be informed and enjoy it, and we're going to get into that after a super quick word from this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, it's 2022 going on 2023. If you don't have a VPN, you're missing out on a ton of benefits. Not just a more secure connection, but if you're paying for Netflix, Disney Plus, or any other streaming service, you're already getting locked out of a ton of additional content that you could be enjoying if you used a VPN. And since they've been sponsoring the channel so long, they've rolled out a massive discount for my viewers. That's right, 84% off plus 4 months free. It's $2.03 a month, 4 months free, 84% off. Private Internet Access also offers privacy on all your devices, lightning fast global server network. And look, outside of all the additional content you're going to be able to view out there using Private Internet Access, it also has a strict no logs policy. It's open source. It has state-of-the-art updates. It's instant to set up. You can put it on all of your devices, your tablet, your computer, your mobile phones. It has unlimited bandwidth and so much more. If you don't have a VPN yet, make today the day. Use my link in the description to get Private Internet Access, start being more secure, and unlock loads more content. So, the lab leak is a scandal of media and government censorship. The Wall Street Journal reports that the Energy Department has concluded that the COOF the COOF lockdowns and everything likely arose from a laboratory leak. Now wait, YouTube, I'm reading a Wall Street Journal quote, okay? I'm not speculating. It's okay when finally 2 years later, the media is fine to admit what 2/3 of this country already knew. The conclusion was reportedly based on classified intelligence report recently provided to the White House and key members of Congress. Many will be exploring why the scientific evidence of a lab leak was so slow to emerge from intelligence agencies. I wonder why. Kind of like how they had that laptop forever, right? There will continue to be a debate. However, I'm sorry, for my part, the most alarming aspect was the censorship, not the science. There will continue to be a debate. I mean, that's the biggest concern for me. Like, actual doctors getting censored, entire careers destroyed, just for merely suggesting that the lab might have been the result. Academics joined this chorus in marginalizing anyone raising this theory. Oh, sorry, start here. For years, the media and government allied to treat anyone raising this lab theory as one of three possibilities: conspiracy theorist, racist, or racist conspiracy theorist. Academics joined the chorus in marginalizing anyone raising the theory. One study cited the theory as an example of anti-Chinese racism and toxic white masculinity. As late as May 2021, the New York Times science and health reporter was calling any mention of the theory racist. She embodies the model of the new advocacy journalism at the Times. Reporters who remained wedded to the dated view of objective journalism were purged from the ranks of the Times long ago. Mendeleev and others made clear that reporters covering the theory were COOF little bull connors. I don't know what that means. Oh, She tweeted wistfully, "Someday we'll stop talking about the leak, maybe even admit that it's racist." However, now one former New York Times science editor, Nicholas Wade, chastised his former colleagues for ignoring the obvious evidence supporting the lab theory, as well as the Chinese efforts to arrest scientists and destroy evidence that could have established the origin. Others in academia quickly joined the bandwagon to assure the public that there is no scientific basis in their theory, leaving only racism or politics as the motivation behind the theory. In early 2020, with little available evidence, two op-eds, The Lancet in February and Nature's Medicine, went all in on the denial front. The Lancet's op-ed stated that we stand together to strongly condemn conspiracy theories, suggesting that it doesn't have a natural origin. We were also supposed to forget about the massive payments from the Chinese government to American universities and grants some of these writers to both Chinese interests or even specifically that lab. No reference to the lab theory was to be tolerated. When Senator Tom Cotton merely mentioned the possibility in 2020, he was set upon by the usual flash mob. The Washington Post ridiculed him for repeating debunked conspiracy theories. In September 2020, Dr. Li Meng Yang, virologist and former postdoctoral fellow at the University of Hong Kong, dared to repeat the theory on Fox News, saying, "I can present solid scientific evidence that it is a man-made and created in a lab." The left-leaning PolitiFact slammed her and gave her a pants-on-fire rating. President Biden accused Trump of fanning flames of racism of the Chinese government over the lockdowns, and the administration reportedly shut down the State Department investigation into possible lab origins of the coup. When Biden later revealed an investigation into the origins, he was denounced as sugarcoating Trump's racism. The categorical rejection of the lab theory is only the latest media narrative proven to be false. Obviously, the Russian collusion scandal, the president's son's computer, the Lafayette Park photo op conspiracy, the Nick Sandman controversy, Juicy Sommelier, the migrant cowboy scandal, and so many more. In the lab theory, media like the Washington Post piled on senators like Cotton and Ted Cruz for even mentioning it, later only to admit that it could be legitimate. All those experts and writers who were called racist or suspended by social media were simply forgotten in the media coverage. This is why this is really about censorship. Well, it's also about money. Money matters. And there are billions of Chinese dollars flowing across this border in the United States and all over the West that are either directly or indirectly supporting many collegiate institutions, many businesses, many real estate opportunities. All this stuff is getting funded with Chinese money. People don't want the China buck to stop. Now, I've got no problem with Chinese people whatsoever. I have a huge problem with the Chinese government. I say the same thing about Russian people. Love Russian people. Not a fan of the government. You know what? I love Americans, and I'm not a fan of our government either. It's not that wild. It's not that crazy of a hot take, is it? None of this diminished demands for more censorship. Even after Twitter admitted it wrongly blocked the New York Post story before the 2020 election, Democratic senators responded by warning the company not to cut back on censorship, and even demanded more of it. Well, I mean, is anybody surprised? This included, recently the Twitter files revealed an extensive and secret FBI effort to censor citizens on social media. This included undisclosed efforts by members like Representative Adam Schiff to get Twitter to ban a columnist and target critics. In a House hearing, Democratic leaders like Representative Jamie Raskin called for more censorship as opposed to investigations into the censorship efforts. Now, where did this all start? Well, an article that came out yesterday says, quote, YouTube, are you hearing me? I'm quoting a news source. Leak the most likely origin of the COOF pandemic, Energy Department now says. Why is it the Energy Department? U.S. agencies' revised assessment is now based on new intelligence. You mean the intelligence that they had all along? There's a reason there's this thing called Occam's razor, right? The U.S. Energy Department has concluded that the pandemic most likely arose from a lab leak, according to classified intelligence reports recently provided with the White House and key members of Congress. The shift by the Energy Department, which previously was undecided, is noted in an update to 2021 document Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines' office. The new report highlights how different parts of the intelligence community have arrived at disparate judgments about the origin of the coup. The Energy Department now joins the Federal Bureau of Investigation in saying that it likely spread via a mishap at Chinese laboratory. 4 other agencies, along with the National Intelligence Panel, still judge that it was likely results of a natural transmission, and 2 are undecided. The Energy Department's conclusion is a result of new intelligence and significant because this agency has considerable scientific expertise and oversees the network of United States national laboratories, some which conduct advanced biological research. The Energy Department made its judgment with, quote, low confidence, according to people who have read the classified report. The FBI recently came to the conclusion that it was likely due to the lab leak back in 2021 with moderate confidence and still holds this view. It's so wild to me that, obviously this was unleashed on the world. Millions of people affected by this, right? There will be no consequences for this. If there were a different president in office, maybe, I don't know, the most oppressive trade sanctions in United States history would be in place. I feel like that'd be good for this country. That'd be a good way to punish them. This is absolutely insane. They will take no responsibility for this. All the people's lives who were destroyed for even trying to talk about this, canceled, banned off social media, businesses closed, pariahs. And we were right. Everyone was right, at least according to now the Washington Post, which is interesting timing, isn't it? It's interesting timing that this is coming out right now. I think it's part of a greater push that they're going to try to saddle Trump with this. This is why they're now able to talk about the poke, because they're going to say, well, this is really Trump's poke, and then he pushed it on you, so don't vote for him. And he did push the poke. But I think I've seen down the line into election season here. Now it's going to be fine to blame China for this. It's going to be, this was Trump's poke, not Joe Biden's, not Democrats. This is all bluster. That's why there will be no real consequences of this. What, was Anthony Fauci, how much was Anthony Fauci involved in this? Did he know? Ted Cruz torches the Washington Post fact checker over new lab leak report. You see, 4 clowns for Glenn. Here's Glenn Kessler. I fear Ted Cruz missed the scientific animation in the video that shows how it's virtually impossible for this virus to jump from the lab, or many interviews with actual scientists. We deal in facts, and the viewers can judge for themselves. And Wall Street Journal reports that, yes, this was, of course, the most likely scenario. Just like many people said from day one, but because everything has to get politicized, they'd rather let people die than admit the truth. I hope we're informed by this video. I hope you'll share this video. And I hope this is a lesson to all of us to be stronger against our government's gaslighting. We'll talk to you real soon.